What's going on, YouTube? Trucking the Life here one more time, guys. Guys and gals and gals and guys. Yeah. Hey guys, you know something, man? I been getting a little crazy with the guys and gals, man. My lips start shaking like, God. I don't know, man. It's just the way, it's just the way my mind works sometimes. But anyway, today's video, guys, is gonna be about dispatchers and owner-operators, man. Now, this is a touchy subject. I know I got some dispatchers on the channel. If you're a good dispatcher, this don't apply to you. But if you're a horrible dispatcher, this applies to you. If you want to operate at least onto a company where you deal with dispatchers, this applies to you. Now, I did a video, I forget what the name of it was, but I know something about making decisions on operate. You got to make a lot of decisions because you kill what you eat. And you got to break that company driver mindset. You have to break that mindset when you become an owner-operator, because if you don't, you won't be in business very long. So even I think I did a live stream where I actually broke down. I didn't break it down because I was kind of going back and forth between questions and the topic of the day. But here's the thing with dispatchers and owner operators, guys. When you're a company driver, this is for people. I'm finna go to the bare basics of this. Then I'm gonna lead up to what I'm talking about. So in case I know people on here sometimes they not drivers, they just want to know, like, what is this guy talking about? This is what I'm talking about. With some carriers you might have dispatchers, you might have planners. Whether you're a company driver or you are an owner operator. But if you start off as a company driver, you train to work as an employee. You tell me where to go, what work y'all got. You tell me where to go, I go do it. Now I ain't talking about the rogue drivers who say, I don't care if I'm a company driver or not. They don't tell me where to go. I'm not talking about them. Them the rogue drivers I'm talking about. The rogue. They went rogue, man. Them guys usually don't last long with carriers or companies because they just so, I don't know, they rogue, man. But you hire them too. But I'm not talking about them guys. I'm talking about the average employee. You work for a company, hire you on Joe Bob Smith Trucking. You work for me. I need you to run these routes. The dispatcher tell you what to do. A lot of times, not always, a lot of times guys become a company driver for so long. They run through the races. They like, you know what, man? If I'm making this much money a week, I could probably make more money as an owner operator. Or, man, I'm tired of these guys cutting my hours. I'm tired of them telling me when I come in, when I'm not. I'm tired of being on call. I'm tired of being over the road. I'm tired of being in the truck stop. I'm tired of sitting around waiting on these guys to get their stuff together. Whatever. Then usually what happens is the guys from as a company driver, he usually goes to becoming an owner operator. Now, when you're a company driver, your dispatcher tell you what to do, where to go, how to get there. Well, not how to get there. You're on your own on that. But they tell you what to do, what work you got going on. And pretty much when to come in, when you're getting off, outside of your clock, of your DOT clock, of course. But anyway, I digress. So now, them guys, they say, I'm finna become an owner operator now. I'm finna be my own boss. I'm finna do my own thing. So what they do is they become owner operators. A lot of times they go from phase 1 to phase 2. I did a video about that. Phase 2 is becoming a lease agreement, a lease operator, or you owner operator leased onto a carrier. So you lease onto a carrier. You don't figure buy a truck. You come up with the money, you save your money, whatever the case may be, and you go lease onto a carrier and you start working for the carrier. Because you don't really want to go out there to phase 3 yet, which is get your own authority and all that stuff. You don't want to do that. You just want to make sure you kind of get your feet wet, like most people should, until they get out there and do their own thing, until they realize what's going on. But it depends on each person, your risk tolerance. So they do that. Now they lease onto this carrier. I would say 8 times out of 10, the first carrier you lease onto don't work out, because you don't know what you don't know it, and you don't even know it till you don't even know it. I said that wrong like a mother clugger. You don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know it. That means you think you know what you're doing, you have a good idea, but you don't realize all the small nuances and all the little different hacks you need to be doing, different routes you need to be taking, different loads you need to be taking. This run don't pay the greatest. You don't know this stuff until you get in there, you start running around for a while, you start talking to other guys with the work they got going on, you start comparing your settlements, like, hey man, well, if you do this run, it pays better, etc., etc. I run this way because less wind, it means less fuel I'm burning because it's flat land, it ain't more hilly and mountains, the loads ain't as heavy. You gotta factor in all this stuff, right? But the average owner operator who become an owner operator, they don't know this stuff. They don't know this. So they become an owner operator, they figure, man, you know what? I'm doing my thing, man. I'm finna get out here and do my thing. But one thing they don't do, one thing the average owner operator do not do. I said do. The average owner operator do not, I'm finna say this. This sounds so minuscule. It sounds so elementary, but I'm telling you, it's not. For me to change what I'm about to say right now, it cost me a lot of money and heartache and pain. A lot of headache and pain. And this is this simple like this. We don't reprogram our mind. We don't change our thinking because we are programmed as a company driver. If you ever work for a company, you program to do what the boss say. Boss says go here, I go here. Now, most people become owner operators because they want more autonomy because they want to be able to make more decisions. Being your own boss, not being leased onto a carrier, I can't really say that. You know what I'm saying? Even some authorities, I don't know about you being your boss because now you trade one boss for many, but I digress. That the average guy don't do is change their mind. So therefore, when they get into a carrier and a dispatcher recognize, this is what I'm going to tell you guys. A dispatcher, a seasoned dispatcher, recognize you don't know your value or your worth. You don't know what you're doing. You're ignorant to the fact. If that dispatcher not an honest, genuine person, even if they was an honest, genuine person, the way the business work is you got to figure it out. This is your business. You got to figure it out. So they could tell you, I've had some dispatchers tell me, hey, you know, man, we got certain runs over here. Make sure I see if you can bid for them. I'll see if I can get you some of them. I have had some cool dispatchers over the time, over my career that actually helped me out in that way, but it ain't too many of them. So the average dispatcher ain't gonna tell you, hey, you know you taking a loss on these runs. First of all, one thing I would say, he don't know or she don't know what you're taking a loss on because he or she don't know your numbers per mile that you got to run to be able to turn a profit. They don't know that, but they do know what trash runs, what guys turn down a lot. They do know that. So if you don't know that, you get in, you do that because most companies will give you if you get through the honeymoon phase of good running, they give you the best runs, the cream of the crop to get your feet wet. Then they might start feeding you the other stuff, you know, that crazy run that get turned down about 10 guys for the 11th guy finally take it. And you don't know, you're the 11th guy. You know what I'm saying? You're like, man, give it here, I'll do it. Well, you be on one load all day and it kills your whole day. You only able to move one load. Got paid one time for it, you had all day for it. That's the type of runs I'm talking about. So now, here's the thing, we become dispatchers and owner operators. Owner operators, you got to understand something. You cannot be afraid. I'm going to say this again. You cannot be afraid to step up for yourself and say, hey, Mr. Dispatcher, hey, Miss Dispatcher, I can't run this run because this run is not profitable for me. Well, if I do run this run, what do you have to go with this to make this run make sense? Because this ain't making sense by itself. Like, I'll give you a case in point. If you have like, your week started off already, right? The first day of the week, you finna start working. And they say, we got one move for the day. Unless that move is enough to cover your baseline for expenses for that day, and it ain't too crazy, ain't too astronomical to do, I will come out for that one move. But if that one move plus 4 other moves make your total income for that day, I'm not coming out for one move because what may happen is you do that one move, you have a breakdown. That breakdown costs you way more money than that one move cost you. And now you paid them to be out there to run that load. So what I'm saying is, owner operators, do not let the dispatchers push you up the road. They don't know your bottom line. They don't know what your expenses is. Dispatchers, you dispatcher owner operators, stop abusing them, man. Now, again, quote unquote, this is for the ones who really don't care about the owner operator. They just want to come to get their check, move loads off the board, and get out the way. Some dispatchers play games. And especially if the owner operators don't understand what's going on, them the dispatchers I'm talking about. The communication is so off that nobody have trust for each other. I'm going to give you a case in point. Some carriers I've been with, they may not have to work for the next day. So the dispatchers, some dispatchers, a lot that I've dealt with, when you dispatch owner operators, instead of dispatcher calling the drivers and say, hey man, we a little slow tomorrow, man, we ain't got nothing going on. Hey man, don't even waste your time getting up going to your truck in the morning. It's looking dry. Some dispatchers won't even say nothing. Then you call the next morning, hey man, what's going on for work tomorrow, man? Or you call that later on that day, what's going on for work tomorrow, man? You got anything going on? How's it looking? Or you get the next day, go to work, hey man, what y'all got going on, man? I'm working. Now, the driver is sitting around, the owner operator is sitting around all day waiting for work, right? And the dispatcher, all the dispatcher do is make a call or shoot a text and say, hey man, we slow. tomorrow, ain't no work, ain't look good for tomorrow, man. That way, that frees the owner operator up to say, I'm finna do something else with my day, versus me sitting around waiting by the phone because no communication from the dispatchers or the company or the carrier. So you call them and you ask them, hey man, what y'all got going on for tomorrow, man? So if it ain't looking good, let me know so I can start planning my day and do my own thing versus me being controlled by what y'all got going on because I'm waiting around for work. So dispatchers and communication with owner operators need to be a lot better, because this is the problem that I've seen. Now I ain't talking about the good dispatchers. Again, I'm not talking about the good dispatchers. I'm talking about the ones who actually care. Because I've seen some guys, I've seen some of this too. So dispatchers they come in good. They new, they feeling fresh, they feeling like, you kind of cool. Then after a while they get comfortable, they don't answer their phone no more. They don't even respond to emails no more. So that's the problem, man. I think it's like no communication. And I get it. I get the dispatcher's perspective too, because they feel like, hey man, I don't feel like arguing with a driver. I don't feel like, because some drivers could get belligerent, man. They could get a little crazy, man. So the dispatcher, like, man, I get it from a dispatcher's perspective sometimes, but not all the time. Because dispatcher, once you deal with certain drivers, their temperament, where their mind is at. Okay, he crazy. I ain't finna tell him nothing, man. I'm gonna let this dude figure it out on his own, because I don't want him to yell at me on the phone. I don't get yelled at. But as a dispatcher, you deal with certain drivers, you already know how they react or where they at. Now, for the good drivers out there, when you're dealing with dispatchers like that, cherish them dispatchers, man. Some of these guys be burning dispatchers, so it ain't just about dispatchers burning on ops. Some of these drivers owner operators be burning dispatchers. Like, that's why I say this is the problem between dispatchers and owner operators, man. A dispatcher could have been good and decent, as a dispatcher, and he got burned so many times by drivers saying they gonna show up and they don't show up. Or they saying they gonna be at work at a certain time, they don't show up. They don't show up to the customer on time, they lie and say where they at. So the dispatcher like, man, skip it, man. I ain't finna trust myself out over these guys. This is their business, whatever. So after a while, the dispatcher started growing cold. So this is the problem. This is a major problem, because the dispatcher need drivers, even owner operators, to move loads off the board to keep the boss off their back and keep their board clear. Owner operators need to move loads that produce a profit, so they be able to stay in business and be able to grow and scale whatever they want to do. But a lot of times, somebody trying to get the upper hand on each other, they're like, man, you know what? Skip that. Like, man, skip that. I'm finna be late with these loads on purpose. You gonna feel my pain. And now you burn it. Now it's probably a decent dispatcher trusting you to do it, because the owner operator I'm talking about is so all over the place. You wasn't gonna make it there on time. Instead of you telling the dispatcher, hey man, I'm gonna be a little late. Hey, this is where I'm at. You don't say nothing. I knew this one driver, this owner operator, where he knew he just wasn't right, man, right up there. He wasn't right for the job. He knew it. But his whole thing was he didn't know how to communicate well. He don't know how to express himself. He's non-confrontational. But my thing is, you'll cause more of a confrontation if you don't say nothing to the dispatcher, because you'll get the calls. Dispatcher, where you at? I'm on the way there. Knowing you ain't even got to your truck yet. They can see it. Because you run the ELD law, they can see it. But they asking you where you at. You still tell them, I'm on my way. So I would say this, man. This ain't just bashing dispatchers. This ain't just bashing owner operators. This is a communication thing, man. I think I know if both people just work together and get it done, things will be a lot smoother. Guys will be out there making their money. Dispatchers have less headaches. Owner operators be a lot happier. Dispatchers be a lot happier. The carrier be a lot happier, because now everybody making money. But you got people trying to burn each other, man. I know some owner operators that really do dirty stuff, man. They only want cake runs. They only want the runs that. These are the favorite 5 owner operators I'm talking about. They only want the runs that pays awesome. They don't want to take some L sometimes to make a positive. Sometimes you could work with the dispatcher. Like the dispatcher may ask you, hey man, while you're at that customer, I got a trailer that the other driver said was bogus. Could you get eyes on it? Let me know. Take pictures of it, send it to me, see if it's bogus or not. And then you don't even ask for no money. You're already going to the customer. They say, okay, I got you, man. I'm gonna check it out when I get there. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes like, nah, you ain't paying me for that. I ain't doing nothing. Which I understand that point too. But sometimes you gotta work with each other. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us don't, man. So now when a guy that's like kind of about life get in there, they just want to get there, make their profit. They want to get that, run their truck more effectively. Dispatcher want to get to work, move these loads. make sure you get enough work for the day and then everybody happy. Instead of that happening, now you have people talking about, man, skip that. I'm finna get you before you get me. And then you try to like, I'm not finna let you interrupt my piece. Everybody saying that, and then now the whole building falls down. Anyway, man, this is a problem I've seen over the years, man. Now, the difference between this and company drivers and this and owner operators and dispatchers is, the company driver, yeah, I get the company driver stressed out because, like, man, I'm out here to make my money. You messing up my money for the day. I get that part. But I'm talking about this costs more to the owner operator because if the company driver, you don't make money for that day, guess what? You could probably call up the next day, probably get paid for it. You could probably just quit, go somewhere else, start working. You're okay. The owner operator don't get paid for it, get messed up out here. So his truck, don't let his truck break down. Now, costing him money to even be out here. His overhead is a lot higher. That's what I'm talking about the owner operators, because you have to deal with both sides of the fence, man. And it ain't pretty, man. This could be a dirty game. This could be a real ugly game. You got some carriers that force their dispatchers into a corner. So a dispatcher may be a good dispatcher, but the carrier, the boss man or the dispatcher say, man, I understand you want to help out. You better not tell them they should get paid for this. You better not tell them that. It's gonna come out your money. So now when now if it's between you and me, oh, it's gonna be me all day, baby. It ain't gonna be you. It's gonna be you. It ain't gonna be me. So the dispatcher start off nice, telling you certain things, and then all of a sudden it just stops. He's probably getting pinched from the top. You know what I'm saying? So that's the way it go, man. It's a dog eat dog out here, man. So everybody is like out to kind of protect themselves, and some people is just out, just don't care about nobody else but themselves on dispatcher side and on the owner operator side. So this is the problem between dispatchers and owner operators, man. So if we get that together, you know, it'd be a happier place, and everybody be sun rays and butterflies. No, it won't. It's always gonna be somebody do some crazy stuff, go mess up stuff. That ain't even pessimistic. That's just reality, man. That's just reality. But anyway, any dispatchers out there who are really good at what they do, and you really care about the drivers, shout out to you guys. Any owner operators out there who really getting with it, who ain't out there to screw the company, out there to get your dough, get with it and get it done, shout out to you guys. Also, too, guys, Trucking Drivers Academy is open. If you want to see what it's about, to see where you're a good fit with your owner operator or your company driver to make any part of your trucking career or your division of trucking you in work for you, get into the academy. We break down all this right here plus more in the academy, guys. If you want to call and see what it's about, book a call to the number on the screen right here, or you can text webinar to find what next webinar is in case you want to go that route, and then we'll go from there, guys. But anyway, YouTube, hope this video is helpful, give you a little understanding of what's going on here, and I'll see you guys in the video. Peace.